Welcome back to the Tech Week TV studio here at TechXLR8 at London Tech Week 2019, where joining me on the sofa is the Product Marketing Director for Commercial Mixed Reality at Microsoft. It's Leila Martine. Leila, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, tell me, since I was here last year, and since Microsoft were here last year, you've gone and brought out a new version of your flagship mixed reality product, Hololens 2. It's probably about 5 or 6 months or old or so now. Tell me about that. Tell me how important it is for Microsoft, and tell me about what's new, what has changed in this immersive reality, mixed reality space that has encouraged Microsoft to bring out a new product.
Well, we haven't quite brought it out quite yet. We've announced it.
Announced it, yes.
But I'm glad that you're very eager about having it, as many of our customers are right now. Yeah, we are delighted. I mean, we did announce it at Mobile World Congress back in Barcelona that we are announcing HoloLens 2, and we've actually had some very, very good reception, which we're delighted about. And I think that's about some of the changes that we've made by listening to our customers. We brought out HoloLens 1, I guess, back in 2016 as the first untethered holographic computer that you wear on your head, giving us essentially superpowers. But we knew at that time it was a developer kit, and we wanted to get it really in the hands of developers and commercial companies to really understand what is it that they could do with this technology that would be really transformational for them. So when we announced HoloLens 2, we had 3.5 years of understanding the use cases, the ROI, but also the feedback. And so some of the things that we put into HoloLens 2, one was feedback about the form factor. So people have always been asking us, can we make it more immersive so that you can see more of the holograms in your field of view? So we've done that. The people have been asking if we can make it more comfortable. And so we spent a lot of time in our human factors lab really doing thousands and thousands of surveys so that we've got inclusive design, so that HoloLens 2 will fit on any type of head and with glasses and genders, and so we've definitely done that. And then the other thing that we've really focused on, which is making sure companies can get better time to market, so that immediately they can just put on a HoloLens 2 when it comes out later this year and start being able to get value right out of the box instead of having to develop their own software.
And I remember the marketing campaign, the wow videos that came out of Microsoft building up to that launch of the original HoloLens, and it really brought a lot of hype around the use cases, but it seemed as though there were almost as many consumer type use cases, you know, whether it was Minecraft-ish worlds appearing on coffee tables in front of you, as there were enterprise use cases. And from where you sit, how have those use cases developed over the 3 and a bit years since you dropped that original one? You talk about form factor and about field of view and so on having changed through feedback. How have the use cases that you've seen your customers using HoloLens to achieve, how have they influenced the product design?
Significantly, and I think that it's so vital when you're building out a new type of category, such as mixed reality, that you're really staying close with what customers are doing and making sure that you're embedding that into the product. And for us, that's everything from the hardware, the software, and the development tools that we're providing. So use case wise, industries, we're seeing it across the board, from everything like manufacturing and utilities, or in the healthcare, or new training and learning kind of pedagogy, places where we essentially haven't had necessarily the technology tools that have benefited, for instance, information workers, where the last kind of 40, 50 years, information workers, knowledge workers like me behind desk have had great tools, but if you're a first line worker, and that could be an engineer with a big piece of equipment, or it could be a surgeon operating or planning a procedure with someone, for them to be able to have a type of technology that gives them information when and where they need it, that has been really evolving in terms of use cases, and very specifically training, remote experts, so that you can be fixing something and anybody in the world can kind of, take their knowledge and be able to help you to solve something like that, guided instructions. There's a lot of very consistent examples of use cases where we're seeing lots and lots of ROI coming out of those.
Well, I want to touch on that, because do you find that customers are experimenting with it, that they're doing pilots and fairly close projects with it, or are you seeing that they are getting real ROI. It is a real benefit to their business through use in the front line rather than just in the development and experiment labs?
Great question. I love that question. Thank you. We did a survey with Harvard Business Review, I think maybe about 12 months ago, and we had about 87% of enterprises that were experimenting, piloting, and trying to move toward production. The cycles that we see businesses go through are very consistent. They'll kind of start with, a couple, they'll experiment, then they're going to move on to pilots to really prove out the value, and then it takes a while to get through the systems before they can then get into production. We're actually starting to cross that right now between getting into pilot and into production. And the reason why is because the ROI is proving out right now. And every day that I'm working with our customers, I'm always so excited to see the types of gains that they're getting. We're seeing large global manufacturing companies get 25% gains on productivity, which is, like we say it just so flippantly, or 50% reductions in the time it takes for them to assemble a cable without an assembly line. We're seeing things that are really, really hard to be able to create, one of a type that we're able to have no defaults or no defects on that. And then just training-wise, it's just a huge new way to be able to learn. And so we've seen lots of examples where customers are finding that they've got reductions in time to train by over 100% and memory retention of 150%. And those are all things that make the adoption of this really real.
In terms of next steps, I know, like you say, HoloLens 2 hasn't officially come out yet, but we're always looking forward here at London Tech Week and at TechXLR8. What are from the feedback that you get from customers, there must also be some things that at the moment you can't do anything about, whether it is haptic feedback or so on. So what do you see as the next real checkpoint, the next breakthrough when it comes to immersive mixed reality technologies that would enable a whole new suite of use cases potentially? Yeah,
that's a great question. So starting off with very certain that they're actually going to be the same three things that we're working on right now, which is people are going to want continued more immersion. They're going to want more comfort in terms of the form factor, the size of the form factor, and then they're going to want even more value. And that's going to be across and getting us beyond some of the first line workers into more knowledge workers. So I'm going to kind of break down a couple of these in terms of some of the things that we're doing today and where it's going to continue going. I talked about field of view for immersion, but it's not just about how big the field of view and what you can see in it. It's about things like the gestures, and we within HoloLens 2 have fully articulated hand tracking, which means that I can pass a hologram to you. I can pass a building to you, and you can be able to pick that building up, and then we can blow it up and see it in real scale. It's absolutely magical. And when we think about comfort, of course, the miniaturization of components will continue to happen. So we're delighted with the gains that we've made in terms of HoloLens 2, but of course, form factors will continue to evolve, and we're building a lot of this custom in-house, so we're in control of a lot of this capability. And then in terms of time to value, yes, a lot of these examples right now are within the commercial space, but we're solving a lot of the kind of underlying developer platform things by building in certain things like mixed reality services for developers that will allow them to be able to do things such as with Azure Spatial Anchors, we could essentially, as a developer, have persistent holograms that are here in space and over time, so we can come back in 6 months and we can have that here persistently forever. So yeah, unlocking the holograms of the world.
Exciting times. Speaking of exciting times, here at the show this week, obviously there is a very strong presence of mixed immersive technologies, which is what you're here covering, but then there are so many other technologies, whether it's AI or 5G over there and so on, that they're all in this melting pot together. What excites you as you walk around the show here and see all of these technologies all kind of mingling with one another?
I think it's exactly that. And we talk a lot at Microsoft, our viewpoint is about the intelligent edge and the intelligent cloud. So when I think about HoloLens, for instance, in mixed reality, that all has to interoperate with 5G. We've got some amazing 5G trials that we're seeing right now. Artificial intelligence, we've got it embedded on our chipset, but then integrating that within our customer environment and what they're doing across AI and IoT and sensor level information, that all needs to be coming together and converging to build real solutions.
Leila, really, really good to chat with you today. I wish you all the very best for the rest of the show, and look forward to trying on a HoloLens 2 when finally you let me get my face on it.
We will look forward to that invitation.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Cheers.